What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of our weekly All Sports podcast. We are batting practice, of course. Sorry we missed you last week. It was a crazy week. Double snowstorm, frigid temperatures, no power, no Wi-Fi. But we're back. We got our Wi-Fi back. It's still freezing cold. There's like 8 feet of snow on the ground. But we're here. We're thriving. Boys, how are we feeling this fine Sunday afternoon?
Sunday afternoon. Is this our first ever time recording on a Sunday?
Think it
I think
is.
so.
I
Yeah.
think
Here
so.
we are. We're good. It's American football day. Playoffs. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
We got a game on. And once this is done, once we're done recording, that's what I'm gonna go throw on. But right now we're focused. I have nothing on in the background. We're focused on SOrare. We're focused on the podcast right now. And
Ironically, I'm building rivals teams though. If
there you
I'm being
go.
Aw,
honest,
Well,
you're
that's still
unfocused.
you're not like watching the Lions game. You could be doing that,
I don't
right?
care.
There you
They're
go.
not on so rare.
So exactly. So you're relevant. You're staying relevant somewhat.
Yeah,
But there
live
we go.
commentary.
I have no rewards to report, unfortunately. I won a Rivals game, so that was cool. I only
Heck yeah.
won tickets for the arena, but that was cool. I've won a bunch of Rivals games since too. I'm kind of figuring it out, the custom tactics, kind of figuring out what to play, where to play them. I like how different games have different caps. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah,
So, but that's about it. Andrew, did you win any rewards recently?
dude, the
Or you
whale, the whale, the whale
the
comes
whale
through.
always
The
wins
whale
rewards.
always. I mean, knock on wood. I actually no, no. This I had a blank game week once, but not too often. I won a Chris Duarte, uh, who is on the Kings. He was a tier 5, only sells for about $2, but I like him because he's a 10 cap, and has the potential when certain players are out or if they have a lot of games in a row. He's dropped in the 30s, and I think he might have hit 40 once before. So talking about a 30-point cap outperformance. So I love those kind of guys that can play in. I think he's my first Kings player from this year. So I don't, he'll be the start of my collection, not, but yeah, I think the collection game has definitely given me a reason. I might have been like, yeah, I don't really need him. I'll sell him, but I don't know. Now with collections, I'm keeping them around.
Hey,
But
Very
I'm more
good.
excited though for my current game week that will be finished by the time this podcast comes out. I'm in 20th place
Ooh.
in limited champion with the potential to even get
wow.
higher because Kyle Kuzma underperformed. He only put up 27,
Mm-hmm.
plays again today. And if he puts up, let's see, I don't know how far away first is from where I currently am, but this will be my test of can I use the UI. Let's see. So
Yeah.
the current leader has 304 points, and I have 277. So I guess
Wow.
Kyle Kuzma would have to go a little bit nuclear, or someone else would have to improve upon. Maybe Cam Thomas, we'll talk about later, drops even more points. Maybe there's another couple celebrities at the game. But yeah, no, this would be my best finish ever in limited champion. So fingers crossed, Kyle Kuzma delivers, and yeah, we'll see. I'll report back on the next pod.
Heck
Fingers
yeah.
crossed. That's definitely our highest finish in champion this year for sure, between us three. So,
But one thing, and I'm curious if you guys do this. Uh, I did fall into a little bit of a pattern where SD would suggest a lineup, and I would just click submit. Um, but I'm in this kind of is starting to double down for me. It really wanted me to play TJ McConnell and Miles Turner in the same lineup. I think likely because is Halliburton out or something, or maybe they had a good stretch. But the algorithm thought both would do well. But again, if you're playing SOrare the way I see it, you know, I think in football, kind of people complement each other more. Like if you have Harry Kane and you have Sane, both can have really good game. And in fact, if Sane has a good game, Harry Kane is probably more likely to. I really don't feel that way in basketball. And I tried to put that to the test. So I kept Turner, who put up 70, and TJ McConnell put up 2. So if I would have kept the lineup that SC suggested, I definitely would not be in this position. But I'm curious, like, do you guys think about stacking, or are you anti? I guess I'm an anti-stacker when it comes to basketball.
I think
It depends on the positions they play. Usually I'll throw Giannis in, but if I'm throwing Giannis in, I'll throw maybe someone else in who won't really take away from him. Like Giannis and Brook work very well between one another. Like Giannis can act as a big man, Brook can act as a man, Brook can shoot. Giannis can't really shoot, but Giannis can pose as a threat, so he can dish it out to Brook who can shoot, and that'll work double. It's kind of like fantasy football, fantasy American football, when you have a quarterback and a receiver. If that quarterback throws to that receiver, you're getting double the points there for 2 touchdowns. So if you do have that ability to get assists and a 3-pointer and points all in the same play, that's big. But there are a lot of teams too where it's not going to work like that. And there's a lot of games within the Bucks organization where Brook and Giannis aren't going to work like that. And I would say out of the three SoRare sports, stacks definitely matter the least in NBA.
I don't know. I see the positions more like a 2 wide receivers, or maybe if we're using different positions, a running back and a wide receiver, where if you watch a game, like if the
That's
wide
that no,
receiver
no, not
scores a
it can't
touchdown.
be. It can't be because they don't
I mean,
interact.
well, of course, but in American football, the plays are more binary. It's someone scores a touchdown, someone doesn't. Generally, there's only 4 touchdowns per game. In an NBA game, there's probably 50 baskets that are made.
That's
But
okay. That's not what I was trying. I was just saying that that's how they interact. It's
I don't
something
know
that,
if I,
but I'm not. Hold on one second. I'm just not necessarily. Oh, I'm not at all. I'm not saying that it's like fantasy football. I'm saying that they interact just as a quarterback and a receiver can interact.
right.
I'm
So you're
not saying
positing that they have a positive correlation, but I don't
not
know if I agree with
necessarily.
that.
No, no, not necessarily. I'm just saying if I were to stack, that's where I would go about it.
Hmm.
I'm not necessarily saying they have a positive correlation. I would say there are teams and players that do. I would say teams with chemistry, if teams are hot, if teams are going in hot, like the Timberwolves up until yesterday were really hot. The Pacers are hot. If the Pacers are going to develop new chemistry with Pascal Siakam, you might want to throw him in there with a Halliburton or something like that. But if they start cooling off, you're going to start to see that real quick in your lineups too.
I don't know, Josh. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in certain circumstances it's okay, and I think the extent of stacking in the NBA is 2 players. I would never probably recommend 3 players on the same team or more in the same lineup. So I guess when we're referencing this, we're talking about 2 players on the same team. And I think there are certain games, certain matchups, certain injuries that's okay. Just a recent example, the Bucks were playing the Pistons yesterday. Dame put up 83 and let's see here. And Brook put up 55. So like if you play those 2 guys together, they both outscored their projections by quite a lot. And they, like Jacob was saying, they kind of complement each other. They play different positions. Dame will make shots, get assists. Brook will get rebounds, get points, get some assists too. So I think if it's more so a point guard, a power forward, somebody like that matching up with a 5, a big man, that makes sense. But again, it's only certain circumstances, and For example, when the second best team in the East is playing the worst team in the
That's
East,
true.
it kind of makes sense. If
Yeah.
the Bucks are playing the Celtics, I don't think I would put Dame and Brook in the same lineup. But again, it kind of depends on injuries and the matchups.
That's a good point. Yeah, when you're taking advantage of a team that, yeah, if you're going against the Pistons versus going up against the Nuggets, that's like there are tiers to the matchups, but no, I see your argument there.
Hmm.
Then again, if Dame puts up 40 shots in a night and is the only one shooting, and Brooks not getting the rebounds, like that could hurt you. But if Brooks getting all the rebounds and getting putback points and assists and so on, then it's going to help. So it kind of depends, like we said, which is the worst answer ever, but it's the
Right.
truth.
But I would say, unlike soccer, which in Rivals, I am a big fan. I don't mind playing or players from the same game that are on opposite teams. In Rivals, or then, because generally in the way the soccer matrix works, there's a lot of, if an offensive action or plus outcome is oftentimes then a negative outcome for the other side. Whereas there's really no minus for points given up. There's minus for turnovers. Um, but if Giannis balls out and you also have Cade on the other side, they can both have good games.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I think that leads us to our fun segment for the NBA. Jacob, want to hit us with the player of the week?
Yeah. So NBA, we got player of the week. Sorry, we should say SOrare player of the week, number 3 for game weeks 2020, 2020. SOrare MVP for game weeks 24 and 25, I believe, is what we got going on this week. Let me just make sure we got that right, so I have it right for when I edit this for YouTube and for YouTube Shorts. So right now it's currently what? It's currently game week 26. All right, sweet. Game week 24, 25. All right. Your SOrare MVP for game weeks 24 and 25 is Brooklyn Nets Cameron Thomas, not Cameron Johnson, Cam Thomas for your Brooklyn Nets. Cam Thomas has an average of 19 on SOrare, and he
Woo!
put up 48 points against the Lakers. He came off the bench and he put up 33 points. That's almost unheard of coming off the bench. And we're actually going to do a little guest spotlight in this player of the week, this MVP. Usually I try and run through it all by myself, but Andrew, would you like to
Oh yeah.
explain why? Would you like to explain why Cam Thomas this week put up so many points coming off of the bench?
I think one of the most unique things about the NBA is just the ability for people to sit courtside. Like I mean, soccer and for baseball, yes, people sit close to the field, but for their safety, you can't exactly sit right next to the pitch or the baseball diamond. You'd probably get hit. Um, and there's, of course, there's the viral videos of people behind home plate in front of the cameras, but basketball, there's nothing like it. And when you're playing in LA, you never know who is going to show up. And honestly, you're probably expecting a few A-listers to be there. So when the Brooklyn Nets were taking on the Lakers at home in LA, Tate McRae and Olivia Rodrigo showed up to go watch because you've got money, you got time. Why not go have some fun? And Cam Thomas, I don't know if this is something that a lot of NBA players do, but I think they look around when they go on the court. Maybe you stare down the other team. Maybe there's like a coach or someone that you worked with before. You're like kind of looking for them. Maybe families in the crowd. But for whatever reason, Cam noticed both of the two sitting on the sidelines. And let's just say he wanted to prove himself and show them that he is a good basketball player. Um, and yeah, he put on an audition, dropping, like Jacob said, 48 SOrare points. Um,
48.
that's, I mean, again, like the nature of the way to win, you got to have people that outperform their cap. And yeah, I think the next time if we can learn who's going to be at these Lakers games, maybe we take the team that they're playing if the right people are there.
It's
Yeah,
the
so
ultimate
what we got to
scouting.
do, exactly. What we got to do is instead of following your favorite players on social media, you have to follow follow celebrities that you think that these
Hmm.
players might be fans of. And if these athletes, or sorry, again, if these celebrities are posting on their stories, on their Twitter, on their Instagram that they're going to the Lakers game, you might want to
Yep.
pick some of these younger guys up and they're going to ball out just like Cam Thomas did. 33 points coming off the bench, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, put up 4 3-pointers too as well. Only 1 turnover, but he counteracted that with 1 steal as well. So Cam Thomas is your SOrare MVP player of the week, #3. Shout out to him, whether he did it for your SOrare team, whether he did it for himself to prove something, or whether he did it for the ladies. He's got the reward this week.
Dude, maybe one to watch tonight. Jabari Walker. The Trailblazers they're playing the Lakers in LA. Maybe he's one to watch. He's only 21 years old.
All right, what's his SOrare average?
Let's see. Okay. Jabari Walker. He is sitting on a 24. He's a rookie this
Wow.
year.
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
and his highest SO5 performance is a 42. So he's pretty consistent. Gets regular minutes. He did have one of his better games this whole season against the Pacers of all teams. So yeah, so maybe he's ready to go in LA, show up, see who's sitting courtside, and yeah, if the right people are there, maybe he has a good game too.
Hey.
This is just the thing we're gonna do now.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's actually a full 7-minute long video on YouTube titled When Players Try to Impress the Courtside Baddies. So this is
Yep.
not a made up thing. This is a very real thing. I think very
Hmm.
famously, I want to say it was Jordan Poole did the same thing
Yes,
when he
yes,
was
he
in
did.
LA.
He did.
I
Yes.
think
I forget
Austin
who.
Reeves also in
Hmm.
LA. All the Lakers players just like showing out for the baddies, I guess. But yeah,
So
there's very. Go ahead.
is this only in LA or are there
Um,
because
There
can we
must
find
be.
I mean
a lot of them are LA. Let's
It's
see.
where all the celebs
because
are at.
it's got to be that or Miami, like one of the
That's
two.
true. That's true.
But most in LA, to Jacob's
Uh,
point.
there's one from Golden State, so California.
Okay.
So not LA, but
That could have been Jordan Poole.
similar,
Yeah.
right?
Um,
Yeah. I think the Jordan Poole one, I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but it's kind of funny. It's definitely a real thing.
it's amazing. I like it.
Yeah. The Jordan Poole one was also Golden State, so in San Fran, but that's funny. But it's a very real thing, I guess. So be on the lookout. Whenever your players
Yeah.
go to LA, maybe boost them up into your lineups.
But yeah, but you got to check on the relationship status though. You got
That's
to know
true.
who are your bachelors, who are your committed people. So if they don't have
Well,
a ring on it, expect them to ball out.
true. Even if they have a ring on it. Just kidding.
Oh,
Jeez.
what? You're the
Tristan
only one that's
Thompson? Who?
married in this call right
Yeah.
now, so
Yeah.
I
that's a
also
little
am not a
sketch.
professional basketball player, but
Hmm.
historically speaking. Anyway, um, I think that's enough of that conversation. Let's talk rivals. What do you say? We haven't had a chance. I know it's been out for a little bit of time now, but we haven't all been together and had the chance to talk about it. So I think now is a great time to dive in. We've all had some experience with it, so I feel like we can have a better conversation about it. But let's talk rivals. What are we thinking? How is it going so far?
I love it. I talked about it a bit last week on the solo cast, but I love it. It's such a great way to get new people involved. I was just with a friend this past week trying to convince him to download it because he's heard of it, but he just hasn't gone out of his way because he's too busy playing regular fantasy Premier League. But I wish they had more games. I wish they had all of the games. There were a lot of FA Cup games that they were missing, which kind of sucked. But I understand if there's licensing and stuff with that, problems come with that, or if they just don't cover them all in Rivals. I don't know. But I will say that I do wish they had more games. But other than that, it's fun. It's fun challenging you guys. It's fun challenging random people. I'm probably winning percentage probably 60-70%. So I'm not doing terribly, but I'm not doing really well either. But I like it. Fun. It's cool that you can win too. Free to play completely.
Yeah, it's so different than, normal SOrare in terms of picking players from a single game. I again, like in football, I usually avoid playing people in the same, unless they're of course on the same team. But like for example, this week I had a Celta Vigo and a Real Sociedad player. They were going up against each other. In Rivals, I played both of them, but for my main lineup that I'm trying to hit threshold in, I did not play one of the players because one is a forward and one is a defender. So if one scores, it's going to hurt the other one. So yeah, so I enjoy the fact that it's a bit of a challenge and it's different from the main game. Um, and but honestly, I feel overwhelmed by how many games there are. Uh,
Really?
yes, I mean,
You
like
don't have to
today.
play them all.
Well, that's the thing, but I feel like I do. Because if you want to move up the leaderboard, you have like the more games you play, the higher up you go. And if you
Right.
can win the reward boxes, then that's how you get arena tickets, and you get arena tickets, and you can enter multiple games per day. Like I think right now I'm sitting on like 4 or 5 tickets, so I still could play more games. So I don't know. It's just like having an ETH balance in SOrare. I feel like if I have it, I gotta spend it and I gotta do it. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thing, but yeah, it's hard for me not to just like. I feel like I have FOMO. If I like go like this morning, I was busy. I didn't play as many games. And I was like, oh crap! Like other people are climbing up the leaderboard because I'm not playing right now, and it's hard because you have to be tuned in. But I don't know. Maybe is this just me, or have you felt that way as well?
Oh, I wish there were more games. At least a few more. Um, it would strategically, it would like because you can't get arena tickets any other way, or can you?
Not right now. Just
Which,
well, you get two per day, I think.
right, one per day, two per
I
day.
swear it's like one every
It
12
would really
hours or something like that.
okay,
Yeah.
maybe it would strategically, or it would cause you to have to strategically use your arena tickets if there were a bunch of matches out there.
Right, which
Now,
there are.
if they do want to implement paying for tickets in the future, that would make that totally worthless because you could buy as many tickets as you wanted. You wouldn't have to strategically use them. You could just enter every single tournament, pay to win or pay to play, like a slot machine. So I I don't know. I think I wish there were more games.
I guess
Are
like the way
you,
oh, go ahead,
go
Josh.
ahead. Are you entering the arena every time you enter a lineup?
No.
Okay.
What?
There's been some where I've only challenged you guys.
See, I feel like so I don't know what your guys' strategy is, but I guess I'm trying to climb up the or try to get as many points as I can. Right now, the upside for winning is you get 20, downside for losing is you lose 5. So as long as I win 1 out of every 4 games, I'm like moving forward or I'm breaking even.
Right.
Um, and so I don't know, like if the math like so right now I feel like Rivals is like a quantity over quality game. Like I feel like to win you just have to spam out as many lineups as you can. Um Now if they changed it where it was like up like win 20, lose 20, then I think that's a little bit more fun because that way if I don't enter a lineup, I'm like, well, I didn't lose 20, but I also
Yeah.
didn't like gain 20. So I think like the way it just like for me, I don't know why. Like the game, and don't get me wrong, it's sucking me in like full heartedly. I just feel like every time I'm not playing it, I'm like missing out on potentially like climbing up the leaderboards.
Have you run out of tickets yet then?
No, no.
So you're not submitting more than two lineups a day basically into the arena. Or do you have enough of a base of tickets already that it's not a problem?
I mean, well, let me get so during the week, there's obviously not as many matches. So like most of the
Right.
like football matches are on like unless it's a Champions League week or there's this AFCON tournament. But most of the time, there's not as many games during the week as there are over the weekend. Meanwhile, on the weekend, there's probably hundreds of games that you could enter. So I guess I haven't like run into it where like tickets have become scarce for me. Like even today, like I have four left and I just entered two arena lineups while we were setting up this podcast. But I don't know, like if I didn't have as much, obviously I would think differently about when I'm entering. Um Granted, if I don't go on a 5 game win streak, I might actually then need more tickets. Um, but I don't know. It's it's a wait. I feel like I'm still sussing it out.
Yeah, so like tomorrow, if you really went in, there's 10 games you could actually submit a rivals lineup into. I don't know how many tickets you guys have, but I have 12 right now. So that would be 10 of my
What?
12.
We have
What?
12?
You have 12 arena tickets?
Holy cow! Why are you not spending them, man?
I
Yeah.
am. I'm doing like two a day, but
Clearly not.
if I did 10 a day, then I would run out in one day. And
Hmm.
then I could only do like one or two per day based on when I claim my tickets. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Like I don't because there's not another way to get tickets at this point unless I win enough in a row to open a
Right.
box and assume I get tickets, or I just do however many I can do based on what I claim for a day. So I like having a little bit of a base in case I want to do a few more like on the weekend or something like that.
It's
Where I
true.
can like be more in tune with my lineups. Whereas tomorrow, like if I set my lineups and I'm at work, I won't be able to like really look at who's starting and all that sort of stuff. But I guess that's what I don't really know what the strategy is. Like you said, it's more of a quantity thing right now, but it's a little bit of both where you don't want to spam 10 lineups and lose all of them.
Right. Because again, like in the beginning, it is easier to accrue arena tickets because it's like go on a 1 game win streak, go on a 3 game win streak. I've done those. Now I have to win five in a row. Because what's interesting, unlike like Streak for the Cash, which we used to play, the streak resets every time you claim a box. So if you win 3 in a row, you don't have to win two more to get to five. You have to then win five more games. So the streaks get progressively longer over time. So of course, like the ability to like yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe I am thinking about it a little bit differently and maybe I should be like holding on to my tickets more. Um, but it definitely feels like right now the strategy is to obviously play as many as you can, but ideally win them as well. So there's that balance of just like sending out crappy lineups you didn't put much thought into versus just I don't know, thinking about it and then uh not entering as many as you probably could have just spammed out.
And it's not it's more to me it's more of a fun game mode where it's actually nice to not have to worry about like extreme strategy and going on server data and scouting and all that. Like it's more of a fun game mode where you can just pick your lineups and challenge your friends and that sort of stuff and you can win rewards, which is cool, but that's not necessarily like the main goal of it. Um, but I guess my one like strategic thing that I've been doing is kind of looking at where teams fall. For example, like Bayern this morning going up against
Werder Bremen.
Werder
Bremen.
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 Um, that's an ideal matchup for Bayern, even though they lost. But looking at that before the game started, like picking a Bayern stack, that felt good. And then the Liverpool game against Bournemouth, like there's no reason Liverpool shouldn't be beating Bournemouth, and they did 4-0. So I guess like I've been kind of stacking it based on matchups at this point. Um, but if during the week there isn't as good of matchups, or it's like AFCON games that I don't feel as confident about, I might not do as much, I guess. But other than that, I'm just having fun with it. I'm just picking my lineups and rolling.
So you don't like look at who's been scoring well over the last couple of games, or like you don't use silver data to set your lineups?
Nope. I'll look at like
Really?
their L5 and see like if they've scored well in their last couple of games, and maybe they're hot right now. But other than that, I don't really like scout or anything. I might pull up the actual lineup and look at the formation and see if it's a defender, are they a wing back or a midfielder? Are they more of an attacking mid or a defending mid? That kind of stuff, I guess. Maybe I put more strategy into it than I'm giving myself credit.
Yeah.
I
But
guess to kind of
it's fast. It's not like I'm sitting down for 20 minutes and setting my rival lineup, you know. It's like, oh, there's this game on. Oh, Girona's playing Sevilla. All right. Let me sit down for 5 minutes and set my lineup, you know.
I don't know. I feel like I have a little bit of a process that I'm taking, and yeah, so that maybe that is kind of why like it feels more of a chore to enter him, or because I again like I'm weighing like as many as I can versus trying to put out good ones. The first thing I look at is what are the odds, who's going to win the game according to sports books. Generally, like the Bayern game or the Liverpool game, I'm sure Liverpool and Bayern were heavy favorites. There's other matches that it's more close. Um, that's the first thing I look at, and then depending if it's close, I'll try to have a mixed team. So it's a little bit more research than it is if it's just a huge blowout. But if it's a blowout, I usually like to just stack five from the team that's going to win. But I do then look at SOrare data to see who's been playing well, who complements each other. Um, yeah, so I don't know if maybe it takes me 10 minutes to set one, but I put some thought into it.
I'll say this, I have not set a rivals lineup that hasn't been a full stack.
Really?
Wow,
Yep.
Wow. So
Weird.
that seems
that
like
is
there's zero
crazy.
strategy involved
Wait,
there.
so
Okay, but think about it.
Even
It's
Bayern?
strategy when it's not strategy.
Think about it though. If I pick Neuer and I pick Delict as two Bayern players, why would I pick an attacking player from Bremen? That's just going to take away from my Bayern
Right.
defense.
Right,
Sure, but what
exactly.
about midfield? Or what
Okay, so
about
I
a
pick
team?
one midfielder. Like
What
I
about
guess to
Sevilla
me,
versus Girona?
yeah, to
What
me it doesn't make sense because if I pick, let's say I pick two players from Girona's defense and I pick one of their attackers. But if I pick a midfielder from Sevilla, they basically I'm rooting against them to not score. That seems counterintuitive to
but
me.
the midfielders can do so much more than just score.
Yeah, to
Wait,
an
Especially
wait,
extent though.
wait, Josh, are you arguing in favor of five-person stacks or against
Yes,
them?
in favor.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I think the favor. So if it so Jacob, if you're Liverpool Bournemouth, are you using all Liverpool, or maybe that's a little bit of an extreme because it's just such a blowout. But if it's like the 10th versus the second team, maybe it's like still favorites, but not just like 1 versus 20.
so okay, if it were Villa versus Chelsea, which is it might be 2v10. I
Sure.
don't think
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
but it might be 2v10.
It's close.
Yeah.
I could see myself picking like I would definitely stack goalie, defender, striker. And
From the same team. Yeah.
I would stack those three from the team that I think is going to win, no
Okay.
matter
Yeah.
what. And then extra and midfielder, sometimes the other team has a good enough midfielder to where it's worth picking them. Like sometimes it might be worth picking a Conor Gallagher, even if you think Villa are the favorites and are going to win. You could pick um blanking on Villa defenders right now. You could pick Emi Martinez and you could pick Ollie Watkins for
Right.
Villa. And then you could have a Chelsea midfielder and then say maybe like a Douglas Luiz to finish it off for Villa.
I guess
So
in
that I
my
feel like
head,
there's
like
let me say you say you haven't played a lineup other than a full stack. I don't think I've played a lineup with more than a 4-1. I don't think I've ever gone 3-2 before. I
Mm.
think it's either been a full stack or 4-1.
which is fair. I guess in my head, like I reasoned it, and I know that I think midfielders are probably the exception to that rule because if you're picking defenders or attackers on separate teams, then that's counterintuitive because if the attacker scores, your defender goes down, and if the defender gets a clean sheet, your attacker's not scoring. And like you said, midfielders can definitely boost their score to a respectable score on separate teams, but I think a big thing with rivals is getting that decisive and especially having that decisive be someone that your opponent doesn't have, which you can't really control. So I guess doing a 4-1, I haven't come up against anyone in the arena that hasn't had a full stack either. So that could be your differing player that could help you. But I think you are somewhat relying on a decisive there, and midfielder getting a decisive to me would either be scoring, assisting, or probably clearance off the line, maybe. Um, but if they're on the other team, odds are that could be affecting your attacking players or so I don't know. In my head, it just felt like that even for a midfielder, it was slightly counterintuitive. So I've just been going with the full stack.
Let me ask you this. If you are playing live hypothetically Liverpool Bournemouth and you have a 55 cat left for your last player, are you going to pick a 39 average for Liverpool who is starting and you have a Liverpool stack for your other four positions? Or are you going to pick a 55 average midfielder or other position for Bournemouth? Are you going to downgrade your cap to fit that stack? Or are there circumstances where you could be convinced like that?
Past past
Um,
past cap doesn't predict the future. Like that's just like what they were. That doesn't tell you what it's going to be for this game.
What are you
right.
talking about?
So if someone was a 55 average going into like every SOrare game, everyone starts out as 35. Um
Right.
historically,
So, but say they average 55 points.
right. So that generally means maybe some games they got a goal or an assist or a
Right.
decisive that took them over that. But if they're on the other
I don't know
team
why
and I
you're like
have
explaining this like I'm 2 years old. Um, I I understand that. I'm just saying if you have enough cap left in the team that you're setting for rivals and you have a choice between two players. This isn't for a future game. This is hypothetical. Do you choose a player who has a better average for another team? Would you ever be convinced to choose another player who has a better average for another team?
Um,
Or are you
yeah, I
still
think
going to
if it
go that
was, I
five
think
stack?
if it was a midfielder and they were performing really well in their last few games, and there wasn't another option for the other team that was even remotely close, I'd say sure. I guess I haven't really had that scenario come up yet, so I don't know, just because I haven't had it happen yet.
Because
But like I said,
there's been I wish I
it
could
would
go
have to be a
back.
midfielder. It would have to be. I think midfielder is the only exception. I don't see a scenario where it wouldn't be a midfielder, I guess, unless I'm missing something. But it's funny that we're talking about this because, as I said, that the person I'm currently playing in Arena has four Girona players and one Sevilla player.
And which
It's a midfielder.
so it is a midfielder. So Nash, we have the exact same team in Rivals
Heck yeah,
for Sevilla versus Girona.
we do. The
Except
only thing different
You
is
have
the
Dovbik captained and I have
no, we both have Dobik captained. The only thing different is our tactics, so it's gonna come down to our
Oh, it's
tactics.
gonna come down to tactics.
You have
Wow, we
Tiki
have the
Taka.
exact same lineup.
That's
That's
funny.
great. That's great. Okay. Yeah, so I guess what I was saying is that I do believe that there are sometimes players that are better on the non-stack team where you could make a case for them over playing like downgrading and playing a player who's lower in the it's the same thing in SOrare NBA. Um if you have 30 points left in your cap and you have one player left to fill that position, are you going to play a 22-point player because they have a good matchup, or are you going to play a 30-point average player? It could go either way. Sometimes you are going to throw that 22 guy in there because he has a better matchup. Maybe he's projected to score 35, something crazy.
Right. Yeah, I think you could argue for either. I guess going back to it, the one instance would be um to diversify a little bit, just because I have seen a lot of similar lineups compared to people that I'm playing against. So if you felt pretty confident in one person on the other team, that could be a way that you get a different score. I had an instance yesterday, the day before, where it was a rivals game, and we had very similar lineups. And it might have been like one or two people different, but then my guys got subbed out and his didn't. So like I couldn't score anymore,
Oof.
but he still could score. I should say they could still score, but I guess that could be a way to kind of make your lineups different than other people's lineups. Not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. That depends on the score, which we can't really predict, but it's a possibility. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me riddle you guys this question because this is something else I talked about last week. How or what, or are we even going to get rivals for the other two so rare sports? I know NBA could definitely use it, but something I argued against it last week is that we're halfway through the season. The All-Star game is coming up. We're definitely not going to get it before the All-Star game. I think that would be crazy soon. We haven't gotten the club shop yet, and I doubt they're going to just all of a sudden release rivals before they even have the club shop, since those two are somewhat intertwined. So is it so rare NBA even going to get rivals? Is MLB going to get rivals? If they do we like where they're going, or are we not going to get either two? What do you guys think?
I really hope we get rivals. I think it would translate really well over to the other sports, especially basketball. And like you said, I think basketball kind of needs it right now. So I think it's okay that it's the middle of the season. I think it's something that could definitely be implemented in the middle of a season. And I think it'd be extremely fun in basketball. So I'm really hoping so, especially with the NBA.
Andrew,
Yeah, I agree.
what about MLB?
So the thing I think about with Rivals is it's a huge onboarding tool. I think the biggest generally with any fantasy sport, the most interest you're going to see is before the season starts. So for baseball, we naturally like the hype is gonna be there. So Rivals will only add to that, but I would make the argument that it'll have a bigger impact for basketball than it will be for MLB, assuming they're released around the same time. Like right now for MLB, I feel like we're in a little bit of a rut. Yes, the All-Star game's coming up. Playoffs are a couple months away. Um,
You mean the
but the
NBA?
initial hype, right. The
Yeah.
initial hype of the season isn't there, which is when most people get excited about playing games. So I think Rivals could be a pretty like an adrenaline shot into the NBA product. Whereas I think baseball, for the first couple of months of the season, people will just be excited because baseball is back. Um, And I'm sure they'll be excited to play Rivals too, but I would expect it to be in both, or it come out for both sports, given the classic product homogenization I like to talk about.
Our
But yeah, no,
weekly
I
our
think
weekly segment.
yeah.
No, but I think like you said, I think the All-Star game would actually be the perfect time to introduce it. How about of the first week of Rivals, it's the All-Star game, and your Rivals team is picking people from the All-Star game, and that would be the first week of it. I think
That could
that
be
could
cool.
be a very good time to actually introduce it. I think that'd be extremely fun.
Yeah, because the All-Star game is the most competitive.
Well, that's the thing. But I
That
think
would
that'd
be kind
be,
of
yeah,
funny.
it would be
Yeah,
interesting.
it would be funny for sure.
That'd
But
be a
that
weird
would, yeah.
strategy.
I I don't know. I think they need to release the club shop first, and we haven't heard anything about
Mm,
that.
Right.
Now,
True. Yeah.
something else that say they release the club shop Rivals weekend. Um, they released the club shop All-Star weekend, and then maybe at the beginning of the MLB season, there's still basketball going on. They release Rivals for the start of the MLB season, but then also for the NBA season. So a little bit end of the year sort of thing. Otherwise, they still have common competitions for NBA. When did they take away those in soccer before they added Rivals? Like, how many months was it when they took away the draft and then added Rivals? It was like a few months, I believe.
Yeah. It was a couple months ago.
I think there still are common in soccer.
Not for me.
Well, yeah, but if you go in the player page, they have it hides those that you're not eligible for.
Got you. Okay, because I'm not eligible. Okay, never mind about that point then. But I
Let me just confirm though. That's a good point though.
I thought there's
Um,
no more common draft. I thought it's just
you don't know there's
there is.
there's
Okay.
common. Mhm.
Okay. I must have just became ineligible. But either way,
Yeah.
I guess that point is moot. But the point about this is that Rivals, sorry, I've lost my Rivals is going to make an impact for both SOrare, MLB, and NBA. But I don't know. It still has a common competition in NBA, so I don't really see them adding a new common competition. I don't know. I don't know. There's 3 or 4 months left in the NBA season. What is it? January, February, March, April, May, June. There's maybe 4 or 5 months left in the NBA season, but it's already
Hmm.
halfway over. We haven't heard anything about it. So I just don't know if we're getting it this season.
Hmm.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Um, I know there's people that keep track of new daily users on SoRare. I know there's one Twitter account, can't think of the name, but shout out to them.
Mm.
But we've
Yeah.
seen the biggest increase in new users um, after Rivals was announced for soccer.
Wow.
And is there other things that are contributing to it? Sure. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. So it's definitely been
Do you have
successful
a
at the
visual of
start.
this?
I don't. I could try and find it, but I don't have it up in front of me.
I'll try and find it. Keep going.
But yeah, I think there's been just so much negative sentiment around the NBA, and it's kind of trending in the wrong direction at this point. So Rivals could be the thing that kind of flips it and kind of starts trending in the right direction. But yeah,
But
I
I
can't, sorry, go ahead.
So I think, and this is something that other podcasts have discussed. Like, do you see Rivals as being a game for new users, or to provide a path for people that like? Is it something that's designed to also be a whale product too, where if you buy a bunch of rare cards to enter Rivals and compete at a very high level, that you can win some like insane prizes, or is it just to try to get people excited, play with their friends? Sign up for SoRare, and then the other game is like where SoRare is actually going to make their money.
I guess. Yes, go for it.
I want to say that the person who's on top of the leaderboard um has only used common cards so far. I could be wrong. I think I saw that on Twitter or on X. But
Hmm.
I guess that's probably an extremely small sample size and probably too small of a sample size, but it kind of shows that you don't necessarily need to buy the cards to win rivals at this point. Does it help? Sure, but it's not a necessity.
Well, that's because they have the two different
Well,
they
right.
don't advertise it, but there are two different leaderboards. There's if you enter a non-common card, you will get matched up against someone that also is playing a team with at least one uncommon card. So if you're like if you want to climb the leaderboard and you don't have a lot of rare and limiteds, don't play them. Uh, you'll actually probably have better luck if you just simply just play common only. But to me, if I were SOrare and I was trying to make it more a product that appealed to both new and whale users, I would kind of get rid of this invisible split leaderboard and say, hey, if you want to actually progress, yeah, at some point you probably need to buy a limited card, because if you're going to compete against someone who has good tactics, makes good lineups, you're going to need that XP boost to actually differentiate yourself. And if you don't have that, you're not going to climb. You're not going to be able to climb up to the next ladder, or rung on the ladder.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, there we have it. Rivals.
rivals.
We just beat Rivals to a death, and I think we needed to
Yeah.
because it deserves it. Because we're having a good time with it, and I think that's what deserves to be said here at the end is that we can debate as much as we want about strategies and stuff. We can debate about if they will add it to MLB, if they'll add it to NBA, but it's fun. It's fun to challenge you guys. It's fun to challenge random people. I wish there were more competitions. I wish there were more ways to win rewards other than just winning streaks. But we'll see those. They'll come. They'll come. It's still very new. It came out, what, 2 weeks ago? So,
2 weeks.
yeah, we got plenty of time for them to add many improvements. So, there we have it. Should we do a guess who or something?
Let's do it.
Only fair.
Which sport?
Um,
That's the real question.
all of them.
All
So
of them.
we gotta do a podal. Shout out to
All
Jacob
right.
for getting the podal, even though
That was pretty sick.
yeah,
But
I texted you Pat Connaughton. You didn't reply.
oh, because he was the answer.
Yes, because that's how I was.
I thought he went off in so rare or something.
No. I
Rona,
was
oh,
letting you know.
Dovbik has 2 goals
It's
already?
2-1 already
Wow.
in the 17th minute.
Daniel Dobrik has 2 goals.
Okay, so here we go. So if you would have played a 4-1 stack right here, okay, they both have 62 points. You could have played Dovbik, but then you could have played Portu as your extra player. Or you could have played Romero as your extra player, and Romero scored a goal too. So there are
Now, okay, I know we've already uh beat it. What's the
again.
saying?
Yes, yeah. I
Yes,
already said it.
we've exhausted it.
But
We,
yes, but looking at this screen here, I guess another scenario that you could have, let's say, the Girona goalkeeper and then like Romero is if you're relying on the game to not be a clean sheet. Because you pick the defense and the goalie based on who you think is going to win. That's at least what I would do. But if you're thinking this game's going to be 3-2, I guess take all the defenders that you think are, or the attackers that you think are going to score, regardless of what team they're on. Because if Romero scores and Portu scores another goal, let's say, they're not really taking away from each other. Portu's not getting minus for Romero scoring and vice versa. So I guess that's another instance that I could see is if you're expecting this game to not be a shutout, like Bournemouth not scoring on Liverpool,
Hmm.
um, then I could see taking attackers on different teams.
Yeah, like using your extra. So rather than having two defenders, So choosing an extra to be your defender, you could
Yep.
choose another attacker, regardless of whether, and if it's then at that point, it's who's more likely to get a goal or an assist. Is it the third best striker or midfielder on Girona, or is the best Sevilla striker more likely to get a decisive? Of course, the thing to note though is like if generally when a goal is scored, someone probably had an assist, just the way soccer works. So you can just get lucky that way. Whereas if you only have one player from the opposite team, you're hoping that, I mean, I guess that player, you really need to have them be involved in the action. But yeah, that's a good point though, Josh, of like, if you think it's going to be a clean sheet, I would argue then you probably want to stack maybe two defenders. And then if you don't, then load up on attackers, maybe even choosing people from different teams.
Right. That was the beauty
I
of
think,
this game.
I think we
is
figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. We're never going to lose another Rivals match ever again.
Let's go.
Unless we play each other, then we're going to do the same thing. But
Well, that's true.
That's true. But that was the beauty of this game today. Like, Jota scored a hat trick, but Nunez assisted one, Gomez assisted one. So it made sense to have that many players on the same team.
Yep.
Anyway, that's enough rival stock. Let's get Podal. Podal. It's got to be
Cam Thomas. Of course it is. Yes.
Dang it. I wanted it so bad.
One of these
in the
times. One of
East.
these times.
All right, it's gonna be on the Bucks again. Bucks guard. You already
Let's
know.
go Pat Connaughton. Yeah, let's do Pat Connaughton.
No, he's taller than 6'3".
He's number 24 as well. It's
Oh, he is.
definitely Thanasis. Although Thanasis is probably tall. Although he's not very tall.
Nah, he's his
No,
brother.
he's taller than 6'3". He's like 6'9". Or 6'10".
I don't think so.
Yes,
I
he
think
is.
I think he's taller than 6'3", but I don't think it's
Send
that
it.
much
Send
taller.
it so that we can find out his height. Let's send it so you can find out his
6'9".
height.
6'7".
6'7". There we go.
That is
Okay,
so
send the
much
Bucks.
taller. That is so much taller.
Oh,
Okay.
he's a really high number. Okay,
How
weird.
about a really high number?
Over 40.
TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell.
Oh, he's not in the Central. Duh.
Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't realize
Or
that.
the Atlantic.
Oh, okay.
He's
Yeah,
6'2".
So does that mean there's south? So is it like, are we looking south? Some of the
Yes.
Charlotte boy?
Yeah. Oh. Is it
JT Thor? Is he tall?
JT Thor is super tall.
Or
Is it
McGowan's?
LaMelo? LaMelo?
Yeah. Oh yeah, McGowan.
Bryce McGowan's?
Oh, could be
Yeah.
LaMelo too. LaMelo is number 0 though.
LaMelo's number 0. Say McGowan's. He's
I
number
don't know
like
what
20
I don't know what number McGowan's is.
He's
But
number 20 something.
number 7.
Number 7.
Okay.
Yep, that's what
Southeast. So
Okay.
What's his height? 6'1".
He's
little bit-
6'2".
So he's
6'2".
6'2".
somebody on the
Okay.
Hawks, maybe?
Is it Trey Young?
Trey Young.
Trey Young.
Yeah.
Doesn't he wear a higher number? No.
No.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's
Oh.
11. That's right. I forgot.
Mm.
Okay.
I
Now
thought we
on the
had it.
Oh,
Hawks.
what's the age? Do we have the age too?
Between 20, so 23 or 24.
Okay.
Yeah, he's young.
Um,
Someone on the Heat, maybe? The Heat?
It could be the Heat. It could be. Oh man.
Who's
Okay.
on the Heat?
Just give me a sec.
Jimmy Butler. Who's a guard for the Heat?
Bam.
Wait, they still don't have Tyler Hero, do they?
They do.
They do.
He's too old. He's
Bam?
too old. He's not, he's younger. He's older than
Bam.
25.
Bam's
Bam is taller
taller
than
than
6'2".
Yeah.
Jaime?
I was to say, is it our boy Jaime?
Yeah.
No, he's too
Good.
young.
He's a rookie though.
Yeah,
He's
but
young.
if he was
No, but he was in
20
college for a bit.
23.
Okay. Yeah. Send it.
What?
See if your spelling is good.
J-A, oh my. I,
Isn't his last name?
J-A-I. Oh
Oh,
my
I thought there was
goodness.
a C.
Not on the Heat.
Oh.
Not on the Heat. Wait, what team are we?
Who's
missing?
left in the Southeast?
Are we
The
done?
Pellies? Pellies? It's gotta be someone on the Pellies, right?
Is
I
it?
don't. Yeah, who's the other team in the Southeast?
Trey Murphy?
I hate that it's divisions.
Trey
Like
Murphy.
Trey
I
Murphy,
swear
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a good shout.
Wait, they're in the West?
He's 23 years old.
Okay, he's 23.
Okay.
Wait, we have
Wait,
one
but
more guess.
Pelicans are in the West? What?
We have one
New
more
Orleans is
guess.
so
telling
close
you,
to
dude.
Charlotte.
The divisions mess me up every time.
Okay. Memphis, like the Grizzlies, aren't in the East, right? Are they in the Southeast?
No,
Technically?
I think they're in the West, aren't they?
Oh, they're the West. Yeah, I think they're in the West. Who else? What team are we missing, boys?
It's got to be
One of the
Orlando.
I would
Oh,
say one of the Florida
Orlando!
teams.
Orlando, yes. It's got to be someone on Orlando.
Or because isn't there's 5 divisions or 5 teams per division. So the other team would probably be the Wizards.
Oh. But are they Southeast, though? Are they
I think
Southeast?
they are. I think they are.
Really?
Because they're not in the Central.
Is it Kyle Kuzma? No, he's old. He's old.
No.
These 2 teams are terrible.
Yeah.
23-year-old.
Wait, is it Banchero? Is it Banchero?
No, he's
No,
6'10".
he's tall. He's taller. He's taller.
He's tall? Dang.
Yeah.
Baller. Thought he's a short guy.
Who else is on the Magic?
Anthony Black?
I don't have a reason why not.
He's shorter.
I don't have a better guess. Cole
Oh,
Anthony.
Cole
I
Anthony.
saw Anthony. I saw Anthony and it was like, no way.
Oh, man.
I have
Okay.
his card in SOrare. I didn't
Oh
know
my
he was
God.
short, to be honest.
Oh,
I
dang.
mean, if it makes you feel any better, we had the right team.
There we
do
go.
have
We
the
got
right
to the right team in the end. Yeah.
All right, let's send a baseball. I feel like we need to get a dub or something here. Real quick. We're gonna rapid fire this one.
Josh Hader
Yelich.
is in the news.
Ooh, I like
Josh
it. Yeah,
Hader.
Josh Hader.
Most recently
Wait,
traded.
yeah, but I was gonna say he's not on a team.
Oh,
Let's do Yelich.
that's
Yelich.
true. All right, Yelich,
Bruh.
Wow, they updated so quickly.
righty from the USA. It's gonna be
That
not
is
from
so
NL Central.
obviously
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge,
No,
baby.
but it's yeah.
Yeah, Aaron
Why
Judge,
not?
baby.
Oh,
I know the age was
What?
close too.
all right. So
Oh,
it's
man.
AL East.
30
So
or
that is going to
33?
be
righty. How about
it's gonna be a pitcher. It's
Mm.
totally gonna be a pitcher. No, it's Trevor Story, guys. It's Trevor Story. Oh, he's
close?
31.
He's
Dang
31,
it.
but guess him anyways.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's probably a pitcher.
In
the AL East.
it's
He's
Dean
not in
Kramer.
Boston or New York.
I don't think Kramer's that old, is he?
No.
Is Chapman on the Blue Jays still? Did he get traded?
As in
Is it
Matt Chapman? I think he's
Yeah.
a free
Sean
agent right now.
Armstrong?
Sean Armstrong?
Who
Who the heck is?
Oh,
thank God. Okay, it's not
I
a
have
relief.
he's not a
his
relief
so-
pitcher.
I won his so rare
33.
card twice. I run his so rare card twice. Sean Armstrong, rare card.
Oh wait,
I'm-
isn't there a Hayes on the Orioles?
Austin Hayes,
Yeah. Oh, he's
28.
28.
How old is Kramer?
Dean Kramer, KRE. 28.
Eight.
Guess him.
Mm.
Okay, it's
All right,
Baltimore.
beautiful.
And it's probably it's not a
No.
pitcher.
Not a starting pitcher, which means if it's a reliever, we're in trouble.
It's not a reliever.
No, it's not a reliever.
Sean
It's
Armstrong.
not a
yeah.
reliever.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
it's not
sweet,
Adley.
okay.
It's not Gunner. Obviously.
Okay. It can't be a
Cedric
pitcher.
Mullins is a lefty.
It's Mullins.
Um,
Mountcastle's younger, right?
Mhm. Yeah, he's not 30, I don't think. And plus, he's an outfielder, right? Is he left or right?
Oh, true. I don't know,
Oh
man.
boy. Oh man.
Orioles.
Who the heck
Did they
else is
trade?
on
Did
the
anyone get
Orioles?
traded? Did they make any? Did they make any moves?
I feel like they really haven't.
Oh, they have Jorge Mateo, Ramon Urias.
Oh, it
I
could
have
be
their sorare
Urias
cards.
because he's their third baseman. Oh yeah, he's from Mexico anyway. Duh.
I was gonna say,
Oh, he's from the
does he
USA.
represent? Yeah.
Santander is a switch hitter.
Oh man, we're taking the L today.
We are taking the L.
Or like a backup catcher. Man.
I might have pulled up the Orioles on So Rare.
There you go.
Try James McCann.
Oh, it's
Backup
James
catcher.
McCann.
Backup catcher. I told you it's a backup catcher.
Hey.
Oh man, I would have never come
Oh,
up with that on
we
my
almost
own.
had him.
Yeah.
All right, Nosh.
Quick.
Give us our outro. Send us away until next week.
Oh man. Well, sometimes you win, sometimes as the quote goes, you win some, you lose a lot. And that was very true today. And that's okay. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. As always, we appreciate it greatly. Don't forget to check out the socials. Go subscribe to the YouTube. Leave a rating wherever you are listening to our podcast. And as always, you just attended batting practice. Now you're ready to get in the game. Peace.
Peace.